Hello and welcome back to the Real Horrorshow podcast. I am your host Samantha, joined by the Stormy Skies.
Hello.
And hopefully, now that I am a married woman,
yes,
we can be a little more back on schedule. No promises.
No promises because it is summer, so you never know.
Yeah, it is summer. Stormy is still getting her doctorate.
Yeah.
Oh, did you drive by Lynchburg at all?
Shoot. No, I didn't. I did not drive by Lynchburg, which is where the school is.
Yeah, I should have asked if you would stop by where your college technically is.
It did not cross my mind because it's so online that I forget that it actually exists physically.
Yeah, I think since we are have mentioned doing a group trip just in passing, maybe we should go to Lynchburg, not necessarily for your graduation, but just so you can check out Lynchburg and pretend.
Yeah, it seems like overall there's cool stuff to do apart from the university.
Yeah, Lynchburg was really cute. We went for a weekend once and it had a lot of cute stuff to try.
It's nice. Awesome. That sounds awesome.
After a 2-week break, I am starting to feel a little refreshed on the podcast. I felt a little bit in a rut.
Yeah.
But I need to catch up on putting old episodes on the website. Okay. They're all drafted. I just need to do the fucking pictures for them.
Yeah, and then I also am excited to have some time on my Fridays that I will probably finally take a look at our outro notes and all that stuff and do a total overhaul, I think, because this is a couple years old at this point.
Yeah, I think a big thing that's helping me refine motivation is I volunteer for literary magazines online, trying to do digital content management.
Yeah.
And it's why the fuck am I doing it for other people and not just honing all of that into Real Horrorshow and Postcard Press? It's just always, these are background things that we do in our free time. Right. And it gets hard with other jobs. I should just put my whole podacy into it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I am feeling refreshed. And another thing that's helping that is kind of taking the first steps to moving off of Netflix reviewing movies and moving to Shudder, which I do think Netflix does release a lot of original horror movies.
Yeah.
But Shudder does feel more relevant right now in our little community.
Yeah, I felt that way too. It was refreshing just not being on Netflix, for once.
And seeing all the movies we could be reviewing that are weird and different, all the horror shorts that Shudder has.
Yeah.
And I go back and forth on having a Shudder account, but now that we're going to use it for the podcast, I'll just keep it up because it's only $6 a month, so why the fuck not?
Oh yeah, let me know. I could send you $3 a month, girl, on Venmo.
Yeah.
Now that I have a Venmo and I have you as my friend, you're my only friend on Venmo.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
And another thing I really like about Shudder, since I have the movie page pulled up, is I can easily see other user reviews.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun to go through as we're talking about.
That is cool.
But yeah, Shudder has a lot of really cool movies coming out this summer that I'm excited for. The one I'm most excited for, I think, comes out. I don't have an exact date. If it's not out already, last time I checked, it wasn't. The Black Girl and Her Monster.
Oh, cool.
Or The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. I saw a newer horror podcast I now follow on Twitter called Unbound and Rewound. She brought it up. They brought it up. I don't know their pronouns. I'm just going to go they to play it safe.
Definitely.
They shared the trailer for it, shared their interview with the director, and the cinematography looks so gorgeous. It's a retelling of Frankenstein.
Oh, neat.
Where the quote unquote mad scientist is a young Black girl who's trying to bring her brother back after he was killed in a police shooting.
Oh, nice.
That's so incredibly relevant, and the cinematography looks fucking gorgeous. Nice. And I just love innovative retellings of classic stories.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep, there we go. And that's coming out when, you said?
I don't have the date in front of me, but I think maybe July or August is when it's supposed to come out. I have checked Shudder recently, and I don't think it's up yet.
Okay.
I think it's going to have a brief stint in theaters before being a Shudder exclusive.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So, speaking of movies coming out later this summer, I was at the movie theater last night and we're getting a new Insidious movie that I didn't know about.
When you said that to me, I was like, yeah, it's out on Netflix, right? Let's watch it. I don't know, whatever.
No,
So
I was
confused.
at the theater and I saw Patrick Wilson and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, is this new Conjuring or is this new Insidious?
One or the other.
Because they were hyping it up. The trailer was hyping it up like, oh, we're reuniting after a really long time to deal with this evil. I'm like, okay, so it's not The Conjuring because The Conjuring comes out like every 2 years.
Yeah, it does.
So I think that would be fun to revisit the Insidious universe when that new movie comes out.
I love Insidious. Like, I love the first one. I saw the second one once, but like I then like that moment in our lives happened where I became overwhelmed, and now there's 5. There's gonna be 5. So I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, it's called Insidious: The Red Door, and I believe they're marking it as the final chapter, but the last movie was the final chapter. So
yeah, the last key.
Yeah, who even knows what a final chapter is anymore?
Literally, there isn't one because there are no rules. You just do it whatever you want.
Yeah. But I love me some Patrick Wilson.
Yeah, it looks like the last movie came out in 2018, so that gives us a 5-year difference.
That is a good gap between sequels.
It is, yeah.
That gives you time to like feel some hype to have missed these characters.
Yeah, get hyped up with Patrick Wilson, who I think is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's coming out showtimes. Yeah. It's like now, like July 6th.
Okay. I thought it said July. All right.
Yeah.
I'll bookmark it because I also do kind of want to start writing reviews for Real Horror Show again. It's just one of those things of sitting down to fucking write. And
yes, I feel
especially right now in the summer where I don't have the energy anymore to see a movie at 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday like I used to since I have Fridays off.
Yeah.
I went to see the movie I saw last night. I didn't expect the theater to be full at all, maybe like 1 or 2 other people because it was a raunchy rated R comedy.
Yeah, what'd you see?
I saw No Hard Feelings.
Oh, how was that?
It was pretty cute. I think I would have liked it better had they not tried to be a raunchy comedy and just been like a more subtle, heartwarming comedy.
Yeah.
Because like there's one scene, and I don't mind spoiling it. I feel like it's a very good selling point. Maybe they should just have this on the poster. Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence has like a 5-minute full frontal nudity scene.
Seriously.
And it's while
she's naked.
Yeah, she's full on naked, and it's when she's beating the shit out of people. So if that's like a certain kink for somebody, have at it. Maybe go see it alone. Like, I'm not gonna judge you. Just keep it under your jacket.
Right.
But like, even in the context of the scene it was happening, it felt out of place for how heartwarming the movie ended up being.
Yeah, I totally feel you.
And like, I totally respect her for doing a full frontal scene, because she did have her nudes leaked several years ago.
Oh,
and
really?
In a way, it kind of takes away the value of those leaked nudes to just willingly do a full frontal scene.
Yes, for sure. I have not seen the nudes, so I feel like I'm missing out big time.
Yeah. I was shocked when it happened. I was like, yeah, I don't think Jennifer Lawrence is into like showing her boobs in movies. She showed like half a boob in Mother.
Yeah, yes.
She was dating Darren Aronofsky at the time, so there was probably like a different level of comfort in that moment.
Yeah.
But just full on, full bush, titties out. Yeah.
That's so weird. I didn't think there were like, I knew the movie was about like probably like sex stuff and things like that, but I like, for some reason, watching the trailers a million times because that's all I'm seeing on my social media is like, I thought that there would just be no nudity for some reason. You know what I mean? Like,
like the R rating comes from language and
implied. That's what implied. Yeah. So, okay, weird. Probably were you like surprised?
I was, because moments before it happens during a skinny dipping scene, and moments before she like took off her shirt and bra and it just showed her back, didn't even show butt. So I was like, okay, so Jennifer Lawrence still isn't doing nudity. That's totally fine. That's totally acceptable. Yeah. And then their clothes get stolen and she comes out of the water and you see her in the distance and I'm like, wait, is she actually going to do fucking Full Frontal in this teen raunchy comedy. And yes.
Yes, she was naked. Was the guy naked with her peen?
There was no peen. There was dude butt though.
Dude butt. Okay, well, I guess that's okay, I guess. But like, you know how I won't even get into that because
yeah.
But
yeah. No, I also need to go see The Blackening, which is horror comedy that's out that is about a bunch of Black characters stuck in like a Saw type scenario. Not Saw, but like
yeah, wait, I've seen this. Is the guy from Star Wars in that? Hold up. New Star Wars.
I can't remember. He might be. But the tagline for that is "We can't all die first." And
yes, that's what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see it. I just haven't had a moment to go see it because, you know, fucking wedding took over my life for an entire month.
It did. Yeah, it doesn't look like the guy from Star Wars is in this, but I have seen this promoted a bunch of times. We can't all die. This is 2022.
Weird, it just came out. I wonder if it had early releases in 2022.
Yeah.
Or I know it's based on an SNL skit.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this looks
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks kind of fun.
But yeah, let's
awesome.
I'm debating whether or not I should bring it up before we talk about the movie.
Ooh, do it.
Just briefly touch on current events since we're both Titanic kids.
Oh God, I could go on for the whole hour talking about this.
I absolutely could too, but by the mini show, it'll be irrelevant anymore. Probably.
I know. Not to me, but yeah, to everybody else. Yeah.
But Jesus fucking Christ, the only person I genuinely feel bad for and sympathize with is the 19-year-old who died in this implosion because he did not want to go. He was terrified. He did it to make his dad happy.
He didn't even want to go.
He didn't want to go, and that is so tragic. But everything else, the pilot, the CEO who died, he ignored every safety regulation. He ignored every piece of advice from all of the experts who've done multiple deep sea dives. Mm-hmm. And because of his fucking hubris, his unwillingness to listen, he got himself and 4 other people killed. And the only saving grace about this is the implosion would have taken 2 nanoseconds, and it takes 4 nanoseconds for your brain to register pain. Right. So it was truly the best way to die. And the thing that gets me even angrier.
Yeah.
James Cameron and Bob Ballard, who are very famous in the Titanic community. If you don't know who they are, why are you in the Titanic community?
You don't know James Cameron, get off this podcast.
Bob Ballard, of course, found the Titanic. He hasn't done as many dives as James Cameron, but he's big in like the Titanic, trying to find ways to preserve the Titanic. I know he's working on like a 3D experience to explore the wreckage safely. Because he wants it respected as a graveyard, but he's never been against like something like a tourism company. Just a safe tourism company.
A safe one, yes, that would be good.
And then James Cameron, of course, has spent the most time at the wreckage of the Titanic, and neither one of them spoke out as this was going on. James Cameron said he had been asked multiple times by multiple people what his thoughts on the situation were, but both he and Bob Ballard said the moment they heard about the missing sub on Monday, they got on the phone with each other and agreed that it imploded. And every interview I've seen of James Cameron since they've confirmed this, angrier and angrier, discussing the guy, discussing how he's warned multiple people who've started working on deep sea submarines not to use the materials that he used because it'll corrode faster than titanium or stainless steel.
Yeah, I can't believe he used some shit like that. He used the carbon fiber, which I knew was going to be fucked up.
Yeah. And like James Cameron just keeps getting angry and angrier because above all else, he is passionate about deep sea diving and the
like
ocean.
Science, and
science.
Like discovery.
And you just see it. He's so angry that this was such a reckless loss of life that could have been prevented.
It was 100% preventable.
And his first interview, he said, "I'm struck by how similar it is to the Titanic tragedy, where you have this captain who's being warned multiple times. It is unsafe to, in the Titanic situation, continue going through the ice field in pitch black with no wind to mark the bergs
and go like super fucking fast, which
pushing the engines to their limits." And then this guy who's being told you know, you
It's not
shouldn't use
safe.
this material. It's not
Yeah,
safe.
it's
You're
not
not
safe.
certified.
Yeah, you didn't do the thing with the third party company to get the certification to, you
Yeah.
know, pass the safety test. And that guy
Run
is
all the
totally
tests.
insane. Yeah.
It was just,
Insane. Yeah.
And you can tell he's getting angry. And he said, Bob and I knew the first moment we heard it. We heard about the situation. We heard that the tracking and the comms went out at the exact same time. And there was zero doubt in their minds that it had imploded. And yet we spent 4 whole days looking for them
with the resources.
The resources. And I get why the Coast Guard wanted to do that. They couldn't just say, we're not going to look for them because here's the information we have.
Right.
The most logical conclusion is that they imploded, because I don't think the public would have accepted that. They're like, they wanted to use the whole 96 hours they knew that they had oxygen to quote unquote try and find them. What they were really looking for was just evidence of
like death or implosion. And I'm glad they found it quickly.
What James Cameron said is, I knew exactly where the debris field would be. It would be in their last known location underneath there. And guess what? It was. So they should have gotten ROV down there a lot sooner.
Yeah, James Cameron is top tier.
Like, I know people like to give him shit as a director because of Avatar, but when it comes to like Titanic shit and deep sea diving, the man went to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. He hasn't been the furthest down, and he wasn't the first, but I think he was the first solo expedition down to the Mariana Trench. The man knows what he's talking about. He is so passionate about this. So he's going into details about where he thinks it failed. So I won't be surprised if next year he rebuilds the Titan to do a documentary to show here's what happened.
Whoa.
And everybody's like, well, what was the banging they heard?
It was just not related.
Yeah, it was not related. And the Titanic is probably making a lot of noises down there.
Yeah, it's made of metal. You know what I mean? It could have been anything, but like they were putting out the news about the banging whenever that was the first news that came out there, like the noise. And I was like, oh my God, like what if they're alive?
I know, like
down there.
I was confident they were dead. Like when I heard the news, I was like, oh yeah, they died the second they lost comms. Like I especially as I learned more and more about the sub, I was like, yeah, there's no fucking way these guys are still alive. And then the banging news came out and I was like, oh shit. Well, I guess they're just dying the worst possible death then, because the Coast Guard and Navy both said if they are at the wreckage site, we cannot save them.
Yes. Yeah. And like I had these two minds thinking about it because I was glued to this story, since I'm sure you were too, since we heard about it. And it was like they're either alive, banging, and running out of oxygen and panicking, or they've been dead.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just trying to figure out which one was it. So it was like insane. And good.
I know, I just get angry, and I have zero regrets sharing memes about the situation, because it was hubris that got them killed. It was pride that got them killed. Just like pride got 1,500 people on the Titanic killed.
15 people. Yeah, 1,500 people.
And you know, I wouldn't share memes. I don't think anyone would be making funny memes if they weren't billionaires spending $250,000 to go play around in the mass grave of third-class immigrants.
Right.
Because quite a few first-class men died on the Titanic, it was primarily third-class passengers.
It was all the people that couldn't pay. You know what I mean? That were just like not seen as people.
Yeah. And I'm also living in the reality of you know, a comparable situation, since 99% of the world can't afford a $250,000 ticket to go see the Titanic. If you're on a cruise ship that you spent $1,000 on and you fall off the side, they're not going to send out like the US Navy and to find you. They're not going to send out private companies from France to come find you. And it does matter that they were billionaires, and we were making like the media was so hyper fixated on this story, because the same time this was happening, 700 refugees drowned in one of the Greek seas trying to get to a different location, trying to move from one unsafe place to a place where they could start better lives. Barely any news coverage on that. So yes, the fact that they are billionaires does matter. The fact that US tax money is going to go to fund this recovery effort is infuriating, and I hope Ocean Gate is fined up the ass for this.
They're going to be they're just going to be gone.
They're going to be so bankrupt.
It's done. It's
done. And I think the most ironic part, billionaires hate regulations.
Yeah.
New regulations are going to happen because of this.
Well, good. That's the one thing that can come out of this, I think, is that.
Which it's going to be hard to enforce those regulations since the Titanic is in open water.
Yeah.
I don't think it's across any border per se, because I know like some borders do extend into the ocean a bit, like oh, they're past this point, so that means it's a US problem.
Yeah, like different continents or different countries. Yeah,
I don't know, we'll see what happens, but the whole situation makes me so fucking angry.
Yeah, it's insane, because the more I think about this and like the more I like remind myself that it actually happened, it's so shocking, because like it wasn't supposed to happen. And James Cameron like did say something about like there's never been an accident like this, because this isn't supposed to happen. So it's like really jarring to think about.
There's never been an accident because every other expedition has done what they're supposed to do.
That's what I'm saying.
Get the certification,
so shocking.
Do the countless pressure tests, use the correct materials,
have weeks of training in case there is an emergency. Right. But like, no, just like, take me down there now. Here's my money. Like, just take me now. Like, I don't care. I want to have fun.
Even the smallest thing, James Cameron said every trip he took down there, it was a 2 submarine trip, so that if something happened to one submarine, like it got stuck on the debris of the Titanic, which is a bigger risk. He said, the risk was never that the ship would implode, because we ran the tests. We were very precise in our testing. The fear was always we would get entangled in the Titanic and be stuck that way. So they always took 2 subs down just in case, to try and get the other one out.
Okay, that's a great point. Yeah, there was no fail safe for this one. It was just like, it was doomed from the start. It's so insane.
So just a complete waste of life, because he should have listened to the experts. Like, I don't think anybody would be, it would be a tragedy had he followed, you know, all the safety protocols and something still failed. It's like we always talk about in these horror movies, oh, well, you died because you got off the trail.
Right. Or like like you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Yeah. And you went against all of, you know, like
reasonable advice.
Yeah. So like there's no logic to it. And that's also a scary part when I keep reading about this. It's like, and I read this in like other articles too, that these thoughts are starting to come out about like, why did these people not like back out? Yeah. If they knew that nothing was going to be safe, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like every single one of them. I heard
that there was another person that was supposed to be on the sub. Yeah. And he did back out at the last minute when he saw what the sub was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But the other ones, they were just like, I'm ready to go now. Like, let's go. Woohoo.
And like, I think there is leaked audio. I heard it on TikTok. I don't know if it's been confirmed, but leak audio from June 11th where they're, you know, looking over the sub, making sure everything's safe. And there was a known leak in one of the valves.
No way.
So whether or not they fixed that properly, that could have been.
And that's the other thing, Sam, that it was like, it got messed up last June. Like it and they had to fix it. And they took this out multiple times. Like, dude, it was like on its last fucking leg. Mm-hmm. Like, just build a new one. Yeah. Like
and I think that's another big thing about deep sea subs is you can't use them over and over again. They only have like 1 or 2 trips in them before they start eroding.
Yeah, in my mind, I picture using a fresh one like every single time. You know?
Which is why it's so fucking expensive.
Well, you know what? They have the money. You know what I mean? So there's no excuses. There really is none, except for like sheer shocking like lack of like not caring. Yeah. Like lack of care for like your fellow human just trying to get money. You know what I mean? Like that's it.
So I do feel for the families. They should have really thought about a waiver that says death 3 times. Yeah. Before getting on that ship. And this whole thing could have just been prevented.
Yeah. I don't know what. There's so many things that should have been done.
I feel for the families, especially the mother who lost her son because he just wanted to make his dad happy.
Yeah, and her husband. That sucks.
Yeah.
both at the same time.
So
damn.
Hubris is always the downfall of man. And also I've heard and used the word hubris more this past week than
me
my
too, I
entire
think.
life.
Yeah, me too. And you shouldn't have to try to be using that word a lot, but you know
Yeah.
what? That's the only word you can use for this circumstance.
but-
And like that dude's like, there's quotes from that guy, the CEO, where he says like this crazy shit that makes no sense. Like he's like, oh yeah, I'm trying to be so innovative, and the people that want to check on my stuff and talk to me and blab at me about safety, they're just trying to bring me down. He's like, it's almost like he's like talking about these people like they're like haters on him. It's insane.
I think
how do you get like that?
I feel like a lot of Titanic experts were excited about the idea. They just wanted it to be safe.
Oh yeah, if it was safe and awesome and worked well and they did everything right every single time, then like it could be great. But now it's fucked up, and no one's ever going to want to do it again because everyone's going to be scared. You know what I mean? Which is good, because you know what, Sam, you're right. It also is a mass grave. Like maybe you shouldn't be down there for fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
anyway,
let's get into something fun like murder and the Catholic Church.
Yes, that is the real horror show. I mean, like the RMS Titanic thing, that was the real horror show portion. So we will just talk about a little bit.
I just thought we should talk about it because it'll be irrelevant by the time we do a mini show, and we are openly Titanic kids.
Yes.
So
maybe next time we talk about it, there might be some other news about it. I'm gonna stick to it like glue for the next week to see if there's anything. I'm waiting to hear like if like the families are gonna make a comment. And like if there's any lawsuits that are going to come about, so we'll see.
Yeah, I'm sure since they signed the waivers, I don't know if the family has any place to sue them. But I think it would be, I don't know if it would be a class action lawsuit, but I feel like the American public should sue them.
There's got to be something, right?
The Coast Guard and Navy are funded by U.S. tax dollars.
Yeah, can't there be some type of a lawsuit regarding like complete disregard of like safety and human like life?
Yeah, I feel like learning everything that's come out in his own words.
Yeah.
I think a lawsuit is very valid.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll see when that happens. Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
This week on the podcast, we're talking about consecration. And my goal by the end of this episode cycle is to learn how to spell consecration.
Consecration.
I've struggled. I want to spell like concentration, but it's consecration.
Yeah, it's the same as concentration, but switch the N in the middle with the C.
Yeah. So anyway, after her brother dies under strange circumstances, Grace travels to the Mount Savior Convent for answers. Once there, she uncovers murder, sacrilege, and a shocking truth about her past. This movie stars Jenna Malone, Danny Houston, Janet Soseman, Thorin Ferguson, and Will Keane. This movie did come out on Shudder May 13th. It is a Shudder exclusive. I believe it did start making rounds on VOD and the Cannes Film Festival as early as 2021. Came out on February 10th in the United Kingdom, in February 2023, and then March 3rd, 2023 on VOD, and May 19th on Shudder. Sorry, that was a little sporadic. I was on both Shudder's page and Wikipedia getting that information. So this is a fairly new-ish movie, at least new to the Shudder community.
Yeah.
And it was, full disclosure, I'm already not a huge fan of like Catholic Church and demons,
right?
In terms of horror movies, like exorcisms are my least favorite genre of horror.
Same. Yeah, I'd have to say same.
They're all the same at the end.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, you've seen them all. You've seen one. You've seen them all. Like, what are you gonna do?
Oh, the priest is here and the demon is resisting the exorcism. What's gonna this did try and take that. There was no real exorcism, I guess, in this movie, but it did try and take that concept and flip it a bit, maybe, where the demon is good, actually, and the Catholic Church is bad.
Yes.
And when we get into plot, I'll talk about it more, but I feel like it was very all over the place.
You know what? I was reading something while I was watching, and it described it as this. It said the movie asked more questions than it could answer, and I think that is exactly what you're
Yes.
saying.
Yes.
Being all over the place.
There's a really good user review that I completely agree right here on Shudder from
sweet.
LLX3. He gave it 3 out of 5 skulls. It
Cool.
started off strong, but the story sort of hummed along with no clear beat. The big reveal at the end and being just interesting enough. Love seeing Jenna Malone as a leading lady. She carried the film well despite the unstimulating scene directions. And I think that's the best way I feel about the way the plot moved forward is there was nothing really exciting happening at any point.
Yeah, I mean the stakes, like despite the fact that she was trying to like discover what happened, the stakes were incredibly low just because like the nuns were just like doing their daily whatever.
They were just nunning about.
And then the only thing that was exciting was like the weird flashbacks about her childhood.
Yeah. So getting into acting,
Yeah.
weird choice to cast Jenna Malone in this because Jenna Malone is not British.
Not British. I had to Google that. I was like, wait a minute. That sounds like a fake accent.
Anyway. I also don't think this is the best representation of Jenna Malone as a leading lady. Yeah. I feel like we don't get enough of her, and which is a shame because she is wonderful.
She's great.
But this movie did not showcase that at all. I still say the best example of Jenna Malone as a leading lady is Saved, which is like her first movie.
Oh, cool.
Another movie about, you know, church and religion, but it's a comedy about a pregnant Christian girl.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
With Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, she was an interesting choice. I get why you would want Jenna Malone because she is fantastic. Mm-hmm. This just wasn't like her greatest performance.
Yeah, she like could there was like she couldn't do that much. Like she tried really hard, and I thought that watching her was
the script
great.
Gave her so little to work with.
I know.
And like I did not like the character that much at all. Like, I guess it made a little sense when we get to the end and the kind of plot twist they were going for.
Yeah.
But she came off as one of those atheists that I don't like as a fellow atheist agnostic.
Yeah.
Which is you meet a priest or a nun or anyone religious and you're just hostile from the beginning. And that's not to, you know, slap anyone on the wrist for having religious trauma. There's very valid reasons not to like the church, but she was just so fucking hostile coming in. Why would they want to work with you if the first thing you say is, oh no, I don't do your rituals?
Yeah, like cut the bullshit when you're talking.
I'm just here to figure out who murdered my brother. And at that point it's being investigated as a suicide, and immediately the first time you're meeting any of these people you're accusing them of murder.
She's like, he was murdered, I just know it.
Based on what? You haven't even seen the body. You haven't read the reports.
I just know because I'm a demon.
Yeah. I mean, that's the twist, is that she's a fallen angel / demon. I don't know.
But in her regular life, Sam, she seems fine. She's just an eye doctor. She doesn't know that she has special powers at all.
Yeah, she's an eye doctor. She's a little, I would say as a person, she's a little on the boring side.
Yeah, she's just average.
Yeah. And I think if that's what they were going for, they did a good job. Yeah. She's very average, and so Jenna played her very average. It's like people shit talk Kirsten Stewart for her performance of Bella in Twilight, but that's how Bella's written in the book.
She's perfect.
She's just average, but she's portrayed as perfect through the eyes of the fucking weirdo vampires.
Yeah, exactly.
I really liked Danny Houston as the priest.
Yeah.
He was so likable that I thought he was going to be like the murderer in the end, but no, they just went this whole demon fallen angel route.
Right.
Father Romero, the weirdly American out of place.
Yeah, Father Romero, who is totally American in Scotland.
I think Janet Soseman as Mother Superior was underused.
Yeah, I think so too.
Weirdly underused. Like they set up
weird
Mother Superior as the big antagonist, and I barely remember her in this film.
I thought she was supposed to be the bad guy. Like once she went into like the holding cell, they like left her in there, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, is she like gonna come back? I thought that they were gonna do a thing and flip the script and have Mother Superior like try to like save Grace
Mm-hmm.
and be like, I told you they were gonna try to like put you in the tomb, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But like, nope, she just like was she wanted to kill Grace too, but she didn't like try to do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very weird, very strange.
The other prominent character for me was the young nun who kept going peekaboo.
Yeah, I can't even find her on this cast list. I'm trying to find her.
Yeah, I thought she was very weird. She was probably the scariest of all the nuns, but also I kept waiting for her and Jenna Malone to kiss. Like they had this weird energy between them.
Yeah, here she is. I found her. She is like super red hair.
Yeah. But like the way she was watching over her in the hospital bed,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is this gonna go that direction?
Right. But yeah, she was like super weird and like creepy, and I like didn't even like her. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
she's like cute and like she's a gnome. I'm like, nah, she's like annoying me.
Yeah.
Get her out here.
Yeah,
Scottish.
but to get into the story, the opening scene of this movie could have been completely cut, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The my brother said I always had a guardian angel.
Right.
And it's showing us the end of the movie first. And in my notes, I described it as, oh, we're getting that anime record scratch. I bet you're wondering how I got here moment.
Right.
You could have just started
Yes.
with her in her eye doctor office. You
Yeah.
didn't need to like foreshadow that a nun is trying to kill her.
Yeah. Yes.
It was a weird opening scene. I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, and then like the reason, and like also I find that her occupation is like very like not, it doesn't make any sense. Like they could have made her do anything. She's just like an eye doctor, and I guess that's like cool because she's like woman of science, but like make her like a neurosurgeon then. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
The eye doctor thing only came back at the end where the guy was like, yeah, the old lady you were working with said you cured her vision, and then we get the flashback to her in her demon nun state curing the old woman's vision.
Well, then like just cure everybody.
Yeah.
Then people will think it's like strange and like something's wrong when everybody like leaves with perfect fit. You know what I mean? Like so like one or the other.
Or if she's a surgeon of some type, like a spinal surgeon, have it so her patient comes back and he's walking like nothing was ever wrong with him.
That's what I'm saying. Like something big stuff.
Something more significant for the end of your movie.
Yeah, not an eye doctor. That just doesn't even matter.
Yeah. But anyway, she finds out her brother killed himself. She's sad about it. Yeah. She goes to the convent to, prove that he didn't kill himself. He was murdered. Does not make a good first impression on everybody because she has to make sure they know she's an atheist who doesn't believe in them, to the point that when she fainted and woke up in the hospital and the priest was talking to her and being like just a nice guy.
Yeah.
He was like, do you have anyone else we could call? And she was like, no, my mother's dead. And he was like, oh, well, where's your father? In jail for killing my mother. It's
like, okay,
chill. He's just like trying to be nice.
I know. It's like, listen, like, you're lucky that I'm like here right now. I could just go.
Yeah. And then he said, okay, I'll pray for them. And she said, no, don't pray. Like, all right.
He's like, all right, I won't. Bye.
Like, I'm not religious, but I don't get offended if people say they'll pray for me because, like, what do I care? Like,
right. What do it doesn't hurt my feelings.
That's coming, like, thoughts and prayers during a mass tragedy mean nothing. But, like, person to person, if they say, oh, I'll pray for you, that's the nicest thing that they can think to do because they're praying to their higher power. So, like, why am I going to shit on that if that's what they truly believe?
Yeah, that's them trying to, like, do you a solid.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah. And she like even like when she gets like a ride with like the taxi guy and he's like, do you want me to wait for you? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, I'll be back. And she's like, okay. And then she fucking falls in the water and he like rescues her, but she does not give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the heck, dude? Quit fainting.
So the priest gives her brother's belongings and she finds his journal and he writes in this made up code that they made up when they were children being abused by their father so he wouldn't be able to understand what they're saying to each other. Mm-hmm. And she finds out he was looking for some kind of relic And I think this is it. They directly reference it, but the relic is something that the Catholic Church would have taken during the Crusades, when they were collecting all these like religious relics and stealing from other countries and
Yes, which is
all
fucked
of
up.
that shit.
Yeah.
And so she comes to the conclusion that they killed him because he wouldn't, tell them where the relic was, that he figured out where the relic was. And so they killed him because they want it. And the father's like, oh no, I mean, we need to stop relying on relics and stuff.
Yeah, he's trying to be a modern man and stuff like that.
And then creepy stuff happens. She keeps having these visions around her of people dying, including her brother, herself, the annoying nun she has weird chemistry with.
Yeah.
But it turns out that all these visions are of the future, I guess.
Mhm.
And every time someone tries to kill her, they end up dying because of some weird demon fallen angel magic. She can like be in two places at once.
Yeah, super cool.
Because I keep calling her a demon fallen angel. Plot twist, she's the relic they've been looking for all this time.
She didn't even know because she buried her past because she was traumatized.
Yeah, she buried her past because she's been alive since the 1400s.
Yeah.
And she was entombed because she was a demon fallen angel thing.
Oh, is that what that was about? I wasn't following after a while. I was getting confused a little bit. I was like, what?
So the whole twist is that she's an ancient entity, and that's why her father just found her on the beach soaking wet with no birth certificate and took her in.
Yeah.
Is because she's a fallen angel, so she wouldn't have that information. So they sealed her away, and after more deaths, she comes back to the church and finds the father and the nuns, and he's like, it's time we end you. You're not cursed, you're blessed. And so they put the nun veil on her and try to entomb her again, but she kills the priest and goes back in time and asks her brother for forgiveness, and he's like, yeah, but you don't need to save me, I have to do this, and he dies anyway.
Well, at least there's that, so she doesn't have to feel guilty at all.
Yeah. So then she jumps off the cliff, and Mother Superior is like, oh no, she's not dead, she can't die. But then she goes in a taxi and tries to shoot her in the face, but gets hit by a car instead. And that's basically the movie. It was 90 minutes, so it could have been worse. It could have been 2 hours. They like to drag these Catholic Church horror movies out to the third hour.
It felt longer.
It did feel longer. It did feel longer, and I think that's because the plot was so meandering.
Yeah, I was like, what?
We didn't have like a lot of exciting things going on. It was just
not really
this demon being a dick to nuns.
The most crazy thing that I still think we didn't like get a whole lot of extra detail on was like what happened with her dad. Like after I thought that he died after he like abused them and put them in cages. I didn't realize until the end that, she like brought him back to life, and then he came back and he was like scared.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to die?
I guess he almost drowned, but she brought him back to life.
And he's like mad now?
Yeah, because he's in jail for killing their mom.
But he didn't have to do that. Like, why did he put the mom in the cage? Like, what happened?
I don't know. The writer-director of this movie seemed to have so many ideas to make it creepy, to make it intense.
I'm confused.
And I don't know what the message he wanted to get out was.
Yeah, I don't even get the fact that like she saw the visions of herself helping herself out in the future from like the past, and I was like, okay, she just like seeing everything now I'm gonna be dead, or like I don't know. It was just a little bit it's just confusing a little bit. I'm still confused, I think. Yeah.
I think I would have liked this movie a lot more had they dropped that like demon angel angle, and it was just kind of a slow burn thriller of a corrupt convent.
Yes, because they did mention that they were like extremists, but like they didn't really do anything extreme except try to get the brother, but they didn't understand. I don't know, because like how were they certain that the sister would come back? I don't know. You see, like now I'm like talking it out and I'm like not understanding.
Yeah. When you start thinking about it,
Yeah.
it disintegrates, and
Disintegrating.
not a great first step into our new Shudder era.
But that's okay. There's so much cool stuff to explore on Shudder.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Not excited to go back to the originals.
We
We're
gotta
almost done.
We gotta do that though. We're gonna finish it. I swear. We are gonna finish it. We might not get to Legacies because of Netflix password sharing bullshit, but we're gonna finish the fucking originals.
God. Yeah, just let us finish it. I'll be damned if we don't.
You know what? I don't hear people talking about Legacies. It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, we don't have to do it. It's fine. Yeah. The original, we gotta finish what we started. We're almost there.
So yeah, for this movie, the plot was just, it was really slow and nothing really happened until the end. You know, you get those kind of jump scares with the nun slitting her wrists, and but then we get that scene twice because it's just a vision of the future.
So when it happened again, I was like, oh yeah, I guess she'll just be dead. I was like, I guess she didn't save her. Yeah. Okay. That fine. It was just whatever, man. It was just a meh for me.
This review is funny from Persephonil. 2 out of 5 skulls. Well, the scenery is beautiful. # leave the Catholics out of it.
Yeah, it was cool to be in Scotland, but like, geez.
Yeah. It was just, I don't know, it was overall fine. Inoffensive. It wasn't good or bad, just exists.
It just I know, yeah. It's not good or bad, it just is.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about production. This is a pretty quick movie review for a long episode.
Yeah.
So I agree, the scenery is absolutely beautiful. We're in Scotland. You can't go wrong shooting in Scotland.
Yes, very cool. Love Scotland, love Scottish people, love the accent, love the ruins, the stones, the ocean, the cliffs, the green, but also it looked very dark and dismal because it's very rainy there. So it could have been just like normal looking.
Good setting for a horror movie. The effects were pretty cool. When the nun killed herself, not the wrist slitting one, but the one who ran out to stab her and something broke her wrist and she stabbed herself. That was a pretty cool effect.
The one who gouged out her own eye because she saw the devil, and they didn't even talk about that once ever again.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm disappointed that this was the movie we got, because I think setting a horror movie in a convent in Scotland, and Scotland historically is a pagan country,
1000% haunted too. You know what I mean? Yeah, like
there's a better horror movie you could do with these elements.
Yeah, but they didn't.
They did not.
They did not do it. They missed it. They missed the boat.
Yeah.
Fucked it up.
Is there anything else? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to skim through these.
It was cool because sometimes like the color scheme was interesting because everyone was wearing whites.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was
cool. The cinematography was pretty, and I do like the all white nuns. The nuns in all white.
I was meaning to look up like why are habits white, like nun habit color meaning. Yeah, what nuns were different color habits? They were white.
But that's all I have for production. I can't think of anything else. Let me see if Wikipedia has anything for us to discuss on production.
White veils are for novices.
Interesting.
Wait, why do some nuns wear all white clothing? Because they're novices. All those women were just noobs. White habits. I guess that also depends on who the church's founder is and what saint wore, what the color was worn by the saint or whatever. Okay, not much on it, just white because it looked cool. Cool. That's cool. Yeah, any cool things on Wikipedia?
Not particularly.
It looks like the poster is cool looking.
Yeah, I liked the poster. That's why I had high hopes for this.
Yeah.
He was inspired. The filmmaker was inspired to make this film due to his inherent fascination with all denominations of religion. Apparent strange essence saying, "I'm never more spooked out than if I walk into a church or a temple. I want to make a movie about religion, but do it seriously."
Well, you're gonna have to do another one. Oh shit. Because this wasn't really about religion. It was about Jenna being like confused about being alive for a lot of years and forgetting about it. She's like, I had no idea I've been alive for 300 years. Oh, so weird. Because she did grow older, but I guess she's growing older very slowly. Yeah, so I don't know. But anyway, I don't have anything else to add. The only other real horror show aspects is like I don't know. Just the death of a sibling.
Yeah. The death of a sibling is scary. Nun stealing all your clothes and putting you in ugly nun clothes is scary.
Yeah, and then like having a abusive father that kills your mother and keeps you and your brother in a cage and stuff and like beats you with a cross. But like he doesn't know why he's doing all that. He just is. And I don't know. That's it, man. Everything else I can't pull anything because none of this would really happen because it's all too crazy.
Yeah.
Making sense. Having a detective that like really is just like super blasé about everything. Does not care.
I forgot that the detective even existed.
I know.
And that's what happens when you have too many questions you're asking in a movie.
Yeah, your mind is going in all these different directions and you're trying to like piece things together, but it doesn't go together. It's just makes you frustrated. So well. We'll do it again, but we'll do it better next time. We'll try it again next time.
Yeah.
Is this guy working on anything else? Christopher Smith.
I don't know. What is he working on? Christopher Smith?
It's not a lot of horror.
This is his current move.
Most recent.
Yeah, most recent movie, and I don't know if he has anything else coming out.
All right. Well, we'll see. Maybe he'll do some cool shit. He's doing some TV shows right now, and we'll see. It looks like he does like mostly horror, so keep an eye. He has another movie called The Banishing. I think I've heard of that though. 2020.
Banishing does sound familiar.
Yeah. We're set in England. Yeah. Haunted house. Okay. Reverend. There we go with the religious stuff. Okay. So it's like his thing. Okay. I gotcha. But
I think that's all I have in terms of a review for this movie.
I think so too. I think that's all we can say.
Yeah.
Without speculating. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I give it a meh.
I give it a meh.
Cool.
Like it wasn't offensive, but it wasn't groundbreaking in any way.
Yeah. It didn't like do something different, maybe a little tiny bit, but I didn't expect for her to be like an angel demon, but that was pretty cool. But that's it, man. Anyway. Okay. Well, are we ready for the outro notes? We'll wrap it up.
I'm ready.
All right, sweet. So Real Horror Show was created by Sam Odie and Stormy Skies and is directed by Sam Odie. And today we learned that just like do things, like one at a time. Don't do too many different things in the story. It's a little bit confusing. But don't be super hostile when you're meeting religious people because they might not like help you out. So that's something. Anyway.
Yeah.
Like what you hear, you could find Real Horror Show on Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play Store, Stitcher, iTunes, and Pandora. Really, really like what you hear. Follow us on social media. Follow us on Twitter at Horror Show Pod, or search for Real Horror Show on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook at Real Horror Show. Like our page, share our stuff. We also have a website that all of our written reviews and podcasts can be found, realhorrorshow.com. We also have an Instagram and a TikTok. So search for Real Horror Show on both Instagram and TikTok. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold, so I may sound a little nasally. Do you want to interact with us? Want to make sure we're real humans, not space vampires? Or just comment or like give us a suggestion to review, comment on one of our episodes, add to something, email us. I think it'd be super cool if we got some email messages. Email us at realhorrorshowpodcast@gmail.com. We love horror, and if you're listening, you do too. Please help us keep our project going by visiting our support page on our website, where you can make a one-time donation via PayPal. We also have an Amazon wish list if you feel like buying us something tangible help convey our love more than a monetary donation would. Also, you can find the buy us a coffee button on our website. It's a button you can click that will pay us the amount you would need to buy a coffee. A little bit goes a long way. And sometimes we can't help our artists monetarily, and that's okay, by simply liking, sharing, retweeting, anything, and giving us an awesome review will help us out tremendously. The other pertinent news we kind of discussed early on in the podcast, The Real Horror Show, which were the 5 individuals lost in the submersible that have been turned into jelly. May they rest in peace. Any other pertinent news, Sam?
I don't think so. I think that's the best way to describe it. Some of the dumbest things I've seen are people asking if they'll try and retrieve the bodies.
No.
But there are no bodies.
There are no bodies.
Hank Green put it best. You are no longer biology. You are physics.
Yeah.
When you implode at that amount of pressure.
Yeah. And like even reading about that, sometimes it's like hard to wrap my mind around, but you have to understand that it was so fast and so hot and so much energy and all that force that they just disintegrated.
Yeah.
You know,
honestly,
yeah,
best way to die in this scenario.
In that scenario, I would agree, because it happened and they didn't even know it, which is the best, and we'll leave it at that. But anyway, that's been taking up my whole life for the past week.
It's taking up all of our lives.
Right. Yeah, all of our lives. But like, I'm glad that like you and I both, I knew that you would be on it. And I've noticed that your Twitter tweeted about it. So I'm like, yes. So Sam knows about it too. So, and my cold, but it's going away. Of course I would get sick in the summer. How silly. That's The Real Horror Show. Anyway, Sam's back from her mini honeymoon, and she is newly married, so congratulations, Sam. This is very, very cool. And yeah, we're back, guys, so go ahead and watch Consecration on Shudder, which is very it's very affordable, so definitely look into it.
Hell yeah.
All right. Yeah, and then also we're gonna try to finish we will finish the originals, guys, so don't get rid of Netflix just yet if you're following along with the originals. Yeah. All right, cool. Our outro song is called Creepy Doll by Jonathan Colton. Thank you, fuck off, and have a swell evening. And this is Real Horror Show signing off. Bye. Bye-bye.
And there's a creepy doll that always follows you. It's got a ruined eye. It's always open. And there's